Hello, everybody, and welcome to an emergency edition of the Market Down podcast. My name is Nick Cummings, joined by Eric Crisanti and James Gisanti. We are here to talk about, obviously, the incredible, insane breaking news that apparently WWE has been sold. There are rumors flying around about this all over the place. So we're going to jump into it. Let me try to recap what's happened today. It's been pretty crazy. So obviously in the last week or so, Vince McMahon has returned to WWE. He came in with two other board members. And then today it was announced that he has officially returned as chairman of the board. As that happened, Stephanie McMahon resigned as co-CEO of WWE, and Nick Khan became CEO of the company. So Vince is back in charge. And as rumors have stated, he's been saying that he's been doing this in order to attempt to facilitate the sale of the company itself. Now, within the past half an hour or so, we are getting reports, including from WWE Square Circle insider Kermit, that WWE has indeed been sold. And we are also getting the unconfirmed reports that it has been sold to the Saudi government. Obviously, they have been getting involved in sports recently with Live Golf and other things. So this is just another addition to them trying to sport wash some stuff. But there's some other reports, according to Sean Ross Sapp, Bovada, who had been taking bets on who would buy WWE, has taken their odds down or are no longer accepting bets, which pretty much tells me that this is a done deal to whomever it's going to. We're hearing.
Wait, who was? I never understood. Sorry to cut you off, but what was the bets thing? I saw
the company was taking bets on who would end up buying the company. But,
what company was taking bets?
Bovada. They're a legitimate gambling site. And when a gambling company takes down odds, that thing is usually done.
Right.
Like that deal is done. So that tells me, as somebody who follows gambling, that tells me that to whomever this has been sold to, whether it's the Saudis or somebody else, it's been sold. So that's what I read from that. Cassidy Haynes has said that she's been told that the Saudi deal is done and they're taking the company private, as well as Steve I'm going to butcher your name. I'm sorry, Steve. Steven Muehlhausen, I believe, has also reported that that's what he's getting as well. Yeah, took me a second there. SRS hasn't officially confirmed it. We haven't heard anything from people like Meltzer or Alvarez. But James, this is a lot coming down today. It's been pretty crazy, Eric, too. Like it's nuts today, guys. And I'm sure there's a lot of mixed emotions here. So Eric, you can go first. Go whichever direction you will, because there's so much going on right now.
I mean, first off, I was just taking a shit, and
thank you for that riveting update again.
I jokingly sent that text thinking, it probably wasn't anything that big. I thought maybe Triple H was stepping down, possibly, but I was just fucking around. I didn't actually think anything of it. And then James was like, provide me a source, and I was like, okay, let me kind of like look something up to see if anyone actually believes the same thing I believe. And then as I was looking for the Triple H stuff, I found the company being sold stuff, and I was like, wait a minute, did I just go down a rabbit hole that I didn't realize was happening in the moment? And then now we're here. And
yay, thank you for willing this into existence, Eric. Yay.
I mean, this has come like so quickly. It's wild. Like I said, we're still getting information as we're live. I'm refreshing the Reddit mega thread as much as I possibly can. So it's been pretty crazy.
I mean, to be honest, I wouldn't have really. I mean, if it is true, which most likely it is, I expected them to sell, and then maybe Vince would just keep 51% of the company or whatever. But now it just seems like it's just straight up his company now, and everyone's going to drop out, or he's going to get rid of them. I can't see why anyone would. I don't know. I don't know what the outcome of this is.
There's a whole lot of speculation that. And again, this is just online, but there's a lot of speculation that the reason Vince would be selling to the Saudis would be that they'll leave him in charge, because they don't care about everything that just happened with all the allegations and the scandals and stuff. They don't give a shit. They know the guy can run the company and run it and make a profit, and he could just be their face in the United States and to, you know, the rest of the world, more or less, and they don't care.
Yeah, I'm reading right now, Raj Giri. He said, I couldn't imagine what WWE looks like privately owned by the Saudis, but a private company doesn't need a board of directors and doesn't have shareholders to answer to. So in that scenario, Vince could do whatever he wants if he went into that direction.
Yeah, exactly. So
Triple H is trending. This is insane.
Yeah, because I think a lot of people are unsure of what the future holds, no matter who this gets sold to. I think there's a very good chance Nick Khan stays as CEO. Vince isn't leaving the board, probably.
He is the board. And
Yeah.
that's not even like he is the board now. He is the chairman. He always had all the power
And the shares.
My only question is, why did it take this long for him? I genuinely don't understand what was keeping him from doing it.
To come back.
I mean, it's only been a few months. You also had to like really figure out his life before he just. I'm sure. I don't think he realized that allegations. I'm sure there was rumblings that allegations were coming, but I don't. You know, I think. I don't know. I think it's almost too quick that he did it so fast.
They've blown over for the most part. You know, there hasn't been too much reporting on it within recent weeks. I know the Wall Street Journal had something semi-recently that we covered, but it was mostly just rehashing everything that happened. And then it buried into it was the small little tidbit of he might be angling to come back. And clearly that was prescient because it came true. So, I mean, I imagine he was just kind of waiting for everything to blow over, and either he decided he couldn't wait anymore because maybe somebody contacted him with a deal, because this has happened very quickly since he's come back to them allegedly selling to now, you know, so it's whether it's that or he just couldn't wait anymore because it's Vince and he's fucking impatient as hell. There's a lot of things we just don't know at the moment because this strictly just happened. But James, I do want to go to you here because you were saying before we came on, you've been watching WWE for, I think you said like 20 plus years at minimum. But I forget the specific number you said. But should the sale to the Saudis be true, I have to imagine this changes your view of the company as a whole. And I don't know honestly whether or not you'll watch it, but I think you'll have to at least think about if you're going to or not.
I have been a WWE fan for 21 years minimum. That I've been watching Monday Night Raw and SmackDown because it's changed nights many times over the years. I've been watching these two shows every week for the last 21 years. I can maybe count on two hands how many times I've missed a week of wrestling. And we've all known who Vince McMahon was for a very long time. We talked about it when the allegations came out. We talked about it when he stepped down. But the reality is, this is such a new low. When the rumors of a sale really started sparking up this last week or so, and there was a bunch of names on that list, whether it was Comcast or Disney or whoever, that pit in my stomach that it was going to be Saudi Arabia just wouldn't go away, because it's Vince McMahon who has shown time and time and time again will do what is best for Vince McMahon. A bunch of people have so many lovely stories to tell about him. And guess what? Those are the guys who were taken care of by Vince McMahon over the years. I don't know what I do as a 21-year fan of this product. I have tickets to go to WrestleMania this year. I've booked, I have the show tickets, I have the hotel booked, I have the flight booked. I don't know that I want to go anymore. I don't know if it's morally all right to. I don't know anymore. And this is really upsetting. I don't know what this means for me as a WWE fan. I don't know what it means for the WWE. There are superstars that we were talking about that we don't know what this means for them. Sami Zayn. We don't know. Does Sami Zayn stay with this company tomorrow? I don't know.
Can he stay with the company? Like, legitimately? Like his sect of he's Muslim. The Saudis are the other one. If I'm not mistaken, had he gone to any of these Saudi shows, he would have been arrested, like on the spot. If I understood like why he couldn't go properly. So, and even if that's not true, they're at odds with each other. So he legitimately might not be able to, whether or not he wants to. So it could continue, James. I'm just saying, like, it could be really bad for him.
We all grew up, if you knew anything about WWE and if you knew anything about Vince McMahon, you knew, even though he essentially bullied his father out of his own company, that he essentially stole the company from his father. This was a family business to Vince. His wife was the CFO. His son was involved. His daughter has done more work for the company than almost anybody else. And now Stephanie McMahon has resigned. She is no longer part of the WWE for the first time since, I could say, probably since I've been alive.
Yeah. She did. I was just saying she did step away, or at least attempt to, I believe, last summer, but everything came out with Vince.
She was taking a leave of absence.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what I meant.
She was still associated with the company.
Yeah, now she's no longer. Yeah.
We don't know what this means for Triple H, but beyond all that, take away the question marks. This isn't about having a family business anymore. This is about Vince McMahon staying in power. That's all that's important to him at this point. Maybe Stephanie McMahon comes back someday. Maybe she takes over. I doubt it. But what can compel a man in his 70s who is already richer than most of the population to want to do something like this other than just greed?
Can you imagine a woman running a wrestling company that's owned by the Saudis?
Oh, yeah. No chance in hell.
Yeah.
No pun intended.
Boo! 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 Not cool.
No, but there was no pun intended there. My apologies.
Yeah, I bet. But this is such a hard day as a WWE fan. And, I've been speaking to a bunch of people since the news broke. And someone said to me, can you imagine if this was 5 years ago when there wasn't any legitimate alternative?
Yeah.
I've seen people legitimately say online, I'm reading boards, I'm reading comments, wow, I've been a wrestling fan for 20 plus years, for 30 years. It was a good run. And whether that's because they don't like the alternative or all they know is WWE, which is in its own way more heartbreaking, this is going to have a gigantic impact on the company.
No pun intended.
I don't even. Damn it. I didn't even know what I did there.
Tune into the Gym Pack Zone every Thursday, everyone. Yeah, no, you're absolutely right, though. And it's going to be weird because this leaves not just a lot of the management people in limbo, it leaves a lot of the talent in limbo, too. You mentioned Sammy. I was asking before we came on live whether or not Kevin Owens would leave just because of what could possibly happen to Sammy and whether or not he would want to take a stand. I think you also brought up the fact he hasn't been to any of the Saudi shows. So there's that too. And there's a whole lot of wrestlers that could take a stand here and want to leave. And that then, obviously creates opportunities for AEW and New Japan and Impact and, and the indie scene. So this is going to have not just ripples, but waves throughout all of wrestling, especially if it's the Saudis. Now, look, if it's not the Saudis, this hasn't been 100% confirmed yet. It's still a lot of people whispering in the corners, although I am refreshing the thread right now. Yeah, unless you have something, Eric.
I was going to say Stephen Mulhausen at 1025. He said WWE has been sold to Saudi Arabia's public investment fund. The company will go back to being private. Unknown if Vince McMahon will return to head of creative, but it is expected by some people.
Yeah. No, yeah, that was the tweet I had mentioned at the top of the show. I'm sorry for not reading it in full. I was just saying, like, we hadn't heard it from anybody else so far. It's just Mulhausen reporting it, and Cassidy Haynes has said that she's been told that. But and not to disrespect Mulhausen, we haven't heard it from Alvarez or Meltzer or anything, as far as I know so far, or SRS for that matter.
Well, I mean, Brian did say imminent news coming So I mean, it's got to be a sale of some sort. And
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I'm convinced that WWE has been sold. I think that's pretty evident. I'm just saying, should it not be the Saudis? I don't think all of these questions we're asking about wrestlers leaving are necessarily going to come to fruition. Excuse me, but should it be the Saudis? This is going to be an absolute mess.
I wonder. I mean, I don't know, like the legal, like can anyone fight that at all?
They could have at a certain point.
And that's when he was like, I'm threatening. That's when he threatened to go bankrupt.
Yes, when he was trying to get back on the board, they had the opportunity to take legal action to try and stop him from getting back on the board. That's when he threatened to bankrupt the company because, hey, if he can't have it, no one can. Thank you, Vince McMahon.
Unless he gets the money for it directly.
And now the moment he was put on the board, and remember, he was joined on the board by two former presidents of the company that he fired, by the way, a couple of years ago. I forget
who apparently have his back.
Yep. And with those three seats, he had enough power, and he made the decision he became chairman. He took the company private, and once you are a private owned company, unless there are some very big legal no-nos going on, he can do whatever he wants with it.
Wait, did he take the company private again? I didn't think he had gotten that far because he wouldn't have needed a massive amount of money to buy out all of the shareholders.
Oh, so I apologize. With this decision to be sold to the Saudi fund,
yes,
it will be going private. I apologize.
Yeah, that's right. That's what Mulhausen is saying, and they'll have to, like I said, they'll have to buy out all the shareholders, similar to when Elon Musk bought Twitter. And just as chaotic it would appear. But yeah, they would have to buy out the shareholders, and then they could install Vince as chairman of the board. They could keep Khan as CEO if they'd like, and then if Vince wants to go back to creative and fuck up all the good work Triple H has done in the last few months, he can, because Lord knows nobody is touching the Royal Rumble and WrestleMania except Vince. He couldn't make it. He couldn't let anybody else handle it. It had to be him.
Man, I was so excited too.
I know. And now you just know Sammy's he's not going to win anything because. Just really quick, can you share? Are you able to share the screen? I sent a link in that last.
It would probably get a little messy.
Oh, if you share the screen?
We could share the links in the comments, can't we?
Yeah, but it's just funnier if we share the screen. I think it's watching us watch the clip kind of thing, but it's up to you. I tried to do it, but it said it doesn't allow me to share the screen, so I gave up.
Like I said, I could. It'd just be really laggy, and I would rather not subject our viewers to that. If you can put the clip in the chat. I don't know what it was or is.
I mean, it was just a funny. It
was a meme. Well, retweet it on Mark It Down Pod Twitter, and you guys can go watch it over there. I did want to bring something up though, related to the Saudi government. So for those of you who don't watch sports, and more specifically don't watch golf, the Saudis have created a new golf tour in the last couple of years called the Live Tour, and it has been a serious problem for the PGA Tour, who have been the mainstay of golf. They're the NBA, the MLB of golf, and the Live Tour has poached a number of top tier big name talent from the PGA Tour to create their own tour here. But the bigger problem isn't the fact that they have poached this talent and created this competitor and stuff. It's more of just, like I said before, it's sports washing. They're trying to legitimize their government on the world stage through the use of sports. And the WWE deal that was already in place with them having these big, what are they, premium live events, or whatever the fuck they're calling pay-per-views now?
Yeah.
Having those big events there was just another example of it. So them purchasing WWE as a whole just turns WWE into a Saudi propaganda machine. That's all that's all Live Golf has been, and that's all WWE is going to become now. And look, WWE has obviously had its problems throughout the decades, but becoming a propaganda machine for a company who had a American journalist freaking butchered and killed is beyond almost anything else that has happened in this company's history, with the exception of maybe Vince trying to cover up rapes and possibly a murder. But
possibly, only
yeah.
possibly.
Yeah.
But becoming a propaganda machine to an oppressive, murderous, government is right there at the top. So this is, oh God. And I know we were literally reacting to this in real time, so we're all kind of a little shook. But this is unbelievably bad. And I know you said this, James, right? I honestly I feel bad for you, man. Like, I've fallen out on WWE. Like, it just doesn't hold that same appeal to me as it used to when I first started watching wrestling, because I started getting more into the indie stuff, and then AEW came along and I loved it, especially, and just WWE went in a direction I didn't like. But you still love this company, and now, with this, I just, it sucks, man. It really fucking sucks.
I don't want to make it like I
know you're not making it about you, but
no, I know.
You are speaking for your general WWE fan here, because I don't like it. I don't think Eric has said a kind word about WWE in our group chat since we started it. So, I mean, you are kind of speaking for the fans here on this podcast.
That belt, I won that at a WWE fan event.
Which belt?
The spinner.
The spinner belt.
What an ugly belt.
You're an ugly lesbian, but that was wrong.
That's right. I do look like a lesbian.
Anyway, I have loved this company, and I have loved professional wrestling. It started as professional wrestling to me was WWE. And then as I got older and as I got exposed to more things, I became a professional wrestling fan for what that meant across companies. And I still loved WWE. I was a John Cena Fruity Pebble for the 15, 20 years that he's been with the company, either part-time or full-time. I've been to over a dozen WrestleManias at this point. I have shared plane rides with the wrestlers before. I have loved WWE, warts and all, for so long, and I've defended the company, even when I was mad at the company, because, hey, there are people that work there that don't make these decisions. The talent didn't make this decision. The crew didn't make this decision. And I love so much about what WWE has given me. And that doesn't just turn off now because of this terrible, terrible choice and this terrible human being making this choice. But there is a point where we all as people have to make decisions about what is worth standing up for. And I'm not trying to get on a soapbox, because I'm not better than a lot of people. I take an Uber. I know where that money goes sometimes. I can only do so much as a person. But knowing the choices Vince McMahon just made, and knowing where my money is going to, I don't know what to do next. Thank God I have AEW. Thank God I have Impact. I have Ring of Honor. I have New Japan Pro Wrestling. I have local indies that if I want to go to a wrestling show, I don't need to see something with the WWE banner on it. But that doesn't mean I'm not going to miss it. That doesn't mean that the 21 years of merchandise that I have, the 21 years of memories that I have are now worthless to me. So this really sucks. And again, I don't know what I'm going to do come WrestleMania. I don't know if I'm still going. I don't know. I don't think I'm getting that money back. So I don't know what to do now. And if we all had a lot planned for 2023 on our bingo cards, I don't know that this was a part of it.
I think at a certain point, And what's going on, Nas? Nothing, not much news to speak of, nothing too important. I think I had WWE being sold on my bingo card to the Saudis. I don't think I did.
Yeah, I didn't think they would let that much happen. Even Vince, I just figured he could keep taking their money on the side, but to sell it to somebody else.
Yeah, and I honestly I didn't think I had Vince coming back either, at least not this quickly. Like I figured they'd probably just sell it and he just go away with the millions and millions of dollars that or billions probably that he ended up getting.
Number, Eric, what was the number you had?
I would say, yeah. Do we have a number or any speculation of a number?
I heard something before, but I don't know how true it was. I heard 8 billion was the number, but I don't see how that is worthy of a sale because the Saudis were giving them a shit ton of money for the yearly shows. So I don't really understand how 8 billion would be a number that's good enough to sell the entire company. Unless Vince is still team. Yeah, but
it's double, I think, what the Broncos just sold last year.
I don't know. I don't know how. I guess maybe I also don't know how much they're paying a year for those shows, but I'm pretty sure like Goldberg was getting paid like $3 million for a show. So maybe it's like $1 billion a year for 8 years. So they're giving him $8 billion for the entire company. It's kind of wild. I don't think.
I mean, shout out Kurt Angle coming out the other day. He said, I love doing the shouty shows. You know how much money I got paid for those? I mean, at least he was honest about it.
I mean, to be fair, though, I don't even remember him on any of those shows. When he said that, I was like, when was he on one of these Saudi shows? I never saw him there, but maybe I'm crazy.
Wait, who's this?
Kurt Angle.
I think he did one when he was the general manager, if they were even doing it at that time.
Oh.
Yeah, he mentioned being there. I also don't have any recollection of him wrestling on one, but I have skipped the last few on principle. I have been looking at some other sources. Sean Ross Sapp is still pretty adamant that no one has confirmed this within WWE. He's also saying some people within the company don't believe it. So I don't know, man. A lot of people are coming out and saying,
yeah, I mean, when there's smoke, there's fire. It's kind of crazy.
Exactly.
I've been looking at I looked at Kevin Owens and Sammy's Twitter to see if they, liked anything, but the only thing I could find was Kevin Owens liking a tweet that said Nakamura should have beaten AJ for the title.
These are the real issues, people. Forget the real world implications of what's going on, where people are working. Nakamura should have beaten AJ Styles.
That's a terrible take, but we'll take it.
If it would have
energy to argue with you,
if it would have avoided all the dick punching, I would have probably liked it. But I would also like to point out Meltzer did respond to a now deleted tweet asking whether or not this was true, and he said that's the belief. So
I'm going to be honest.
Official confirmation, but like you said, Eric, where there's smoke.
Yeah, I mean, no DQ is reporting it. I mean, also they could just be reporting somebody else's report.
Yeah.
I respect what SRS is doing. I respect what Meltzer is doing. It's what responsible journalism is, which is until there is something official to say, it's
iHeartRadio News.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Well, I assume these are just a bunch of aggregators, but also Dropkick JD in the chat is saying that Angle was a member of the Shield at the Saudi show.
Oh yeah.
I don't remember. Was that the Saudi show? I do remember that happening. I just didn't remember happening it in the Hellscape.
Yes, he came out in the vest and the whole thing, and it was off. That's when we all realized he couldn't go anymore.
No,
Goofy Dad Angle was great.
The first time he came out in the vest though wasn't in Saudi Arabia.
Oh, then I don't know what I'm talking about.
He came out. That was at TLC.
Okay.
Yeah, that was the match where he went through the table early, and then they brought him to the back, and then they brought him back out again at the end, and he helped them win. Yeah, I don't remember specifically. I remember that match. I just don't remember when Angle was there. I thought he fought Corbin or something. I don't know. Like I said, I skipped a bunch of those.
He wrestled Dolph Ziggler at a Crown Jewel.
Damn. Nas
actually the facts here at the Mark It Down podcast, people. If you're here, thank you. We've got 21 people watching. Love you. If you're not a subscriber, subscribe, please. We would appreciate it because honestly, I'm breaking down as a human being right now. And
He genuinely is, folks. You're watching it live.
Yeah, I need the support. I need the cuddles. We have cookies. So
we don't have cookies, but
James will make
I
cookies.
do. I will.
I do want to hop into back in the chat, Eric, real quick, because Nas stole a joke I was going to make, saying this is worse than the Correa stuff with the Mets. And honestly, yeah, dude, it is. I saw that when that happened, and I was like, well, it was kind of coming down the pipeline. It felt inevitable. And I guess this did too, but this just feels so much worse. It sucks, man. Oh, this has been a bad sports day for you, boy. It really has. I'm sorry, Eric, you were saying something.
I have no. Oh, I was just gonna say, like, it also just kind of kills the fun. Not kills the fun of AEW, but it's also just like it's not even really a competition anymore. It's just like this is now the evil company that you don't want to watch because of a million different reasons, as opposed to what's the better show. And like if any of these guys jump ship, it's not as fun anymore because it's like they kind of had no choice. It wasn't like money or anything like that. It wasn't like there wasn't a battle for this guy's contract. Or like Sammy coming to AEW now, it's just like you see it coming. He's not going to stay with them.
I mean,
at the end of the day.
To play devil's advocate to that, because I remember when WCW was bought by WWE, there were a lot of guys who chose to sit at home. There were a lot of guys who were picked up by WWE, and then there were a lot of guys who went to fucking TNA.
A lot of the guys who chose to sit at home were also making millions of dollars, and they would have breached that contract had they gone to WWE at the time. So it kind of made sense for them to do so, which is why the invasion sucked.
I mean,
we don't talk about that. But I mean, my point being, Eric, just give me 1 second. What you said is absolutely true, but it didn't make it less awesome when Goldberg showed up. Right. It didn't make it less awesome, I guess, when Scott Steiner showed up. It didn't make it less awesome when the NWO invaded WWE. It didn't matter that there wasn't an alternative and they were only there because there was nowhere else to go. We still had those epic moments. But the names I just mentioned were some of the biggest names in WCW. AEW isn't going to be able to take everybody. Would they gladly take a Roman Reigns? Sure. He's not going to be able to be Roman Reigns if he would have wanted to leave, and why would he? But he can't.
Samoan Joe.
I mean, I think I guess I mean, I almost kind of want to take back what I just said, because if Vince is in charge, then maybe it's more fun this time around than it is like beating Triple H. You know, like I want to see Vince suffer. Yeah, I want to see him lose, as opposed to seeing Triple H lose. I want Triple H to.
I love what I'm hearing.
Yeah, because like Triple H, it was a fun competition. I think at least more fun than.
But it's like,
Tony versus Vince, because Vince just sucks.
Right, but if it's Triple H, it's like watching two of your friends fight. You just kind of don't want to see it in a way.
Yeah,
with Vince,
I get that.
It's like now everything AEW does. Like if Sasha comes out or if Punk comes out and takes a dig at WWE, it's like, all right, well, fuck them now. There's no more like. Why are they always mentioning the other company? It's just like, nah, fuck those guys. Like we want to be better than them. And maybe it will be more fun now, knowing that, you might get a Sammy over there now. Like a Sammy might be more popular in AEW than he was in WWE, because it's like he was sticking up to, his political beliefs and, blood money and his, where he's from and just everything.
He'll definitely be allowed to be more vocal in AEW should he go.
And let's be honest, all these guys for the most part are friends. People in WWE are friends with people in AEW, as they're friends with people in Impact, as they're friends with people in New Japan. We've seen it time and again. Sami Zayn, his mentor El Generico wrestled most of the people on the AEW roster. Kevin Owens is the number one guy the Young Bucks said that they want to take from WWE to AEW. None of them are. There are a bunch of these guys who are not going to have a hard time getting a job.
Did they say
But
Kevin Owens was their
AEW
number one guy?
This was granted in like the first or second year. But I mean,
that's
also
their
don't
boy.
think that changes anything. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, a year ago, I would have said, no, that's dumb. But now, lately, like you see Kevin opening up because Vince isn't there and he's just doing whatever the fuck he wants. And
exactly.
Bring back Mount Rushmore.
I just want to address some of the people in the chat.
Sup, Navarro?
Yeah, Sup, Navarro. Yeah, we would have loved. I don't know that I would have loved TK buying the company, but I can tell you, I am happy to see him try to capitalize on this.
He surprisingly, he posted on Twitter before. He didn't necessarily directly respond to the Stephanie McMahon thing like he did the other day.
Yeah.
But everyone, just the fact that he posted, everyone was like, look at TK being nice to.
He doesn't really have any ill will towards most of those people. He's talked about it before. And he's like,
no, but
I've talked to them. They're nice people. We're just in competition.
When they screw with him, he is the first person to say that they screwed with him. And I don't want to say complain, but he has no problem airing it when he feels he's been wronged by them.
Oh, yeah, I agreed as well.
Times.
Yeah.
So I'm proud of him for not taking the pot shot because especially right now, we don't know what's going on.
I mean, he took a shot a couple days ago.
Saudi hit list.
Yeah.
When Vince came back, he took a shot. He's like, oh, everyone's being so nice to me.
But him taking a shot at Vince is different than taking a shot at Stephanie or taking a shot at what the situation is, where realistically the landscape is different now. Vince coming back, we knew it was going to impact, but it didn't happen yet. Now it's happening.
Right.
And just to go back to the point, AEW wouldn't be able to sustain the influx of talent that might leave.
They could barely sustain the talent they have now.
It's true. But until Ring of Honor actually gets going, there isn't enough space for all this talent, let alone how much money Tony Khan might be willing to spend.
I do find it. Sorry, go ahead.
No, please.
I was going to say, I do find it funny that before Vince left, he got rid of all these guys because he wanted to sell the company and make more money than he would have with them in it. Like Bray and Strowman, and like those are $1 million contracts that he got rid of so that he could sell the company for more or whatever. And then he left. They all got hired back, and now he's back, and he's selling it for what he could have sold it for initially. Back when, like, he didn't need to fire any of those guys because Regal's back, Strowman's back, Bray's back,
Cross
is back. I mean, Cross wasn't hurting his pockets, but but Strowman and Bray, those are
Bronson Reed.
Those are what is that, like $6 million a year two contracts that but I guess he's also, Sasha's not there, so he's not paying her. I don't know how, I'm not sure.
It's weird too, and I think James will be back in a second as his face froze in one of the funniest ways possible. And somebody brought this up on Reddit. Shout out to Oddman Rush over on Squared Circle. Fox and USA, the TV deals run out, I think next year, which is going to be a big deal if the Saudis own the company, because the Live Tour that I mentioned earlier, they cannot get a US deal. No company will put them on television, but companies won't even let them buy TV time, which is something that happens when if a sports league like wants to get themselves on TV, they'll buy a slot. I think the AAF, that spring football league that came out a few years back, they were buying time on Fox to try to get things going. Didn't work out. They went bankrupt. But if the Saudis own this company and none of these networks want to put a Saudi-owned product on their network, they're going to lose their TV deals. And who knows what's going to happen then? They'll lose Peacock streaming. They'll lose USA. They'll lose NBC and Comcast. They'll lose Fox.
But what did they do for soccer? No,
Live is golf.
But I'm saying for soccer they were in Saudi Arabia and it was all over TV. Like
the World Cup.
Yeah.
No, that was in Qatar, different country.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, very, very. I mean, similar situation. They have a shit government, an oppressive one, and they they honestly they just bribed FIFA to get the World Cup and then
So what's
used it for
stopping
sports washing. But that's not on. Qatar doesn't own the World Cup. They, the FIFA owns the World Cup and FIFA has the rights deal with Fox. That's why it was on TV. This is different. If the Saudis own WWE the way they own the Live Tour, companies may be hesitant to give them a television deal because they don't want to be in business with the Saudi government. So I mean that's down the road, but it's still something to think about.
What's stopping USA and Fox from even showing next week? Like, because
contracts. They have a contract for now. When they
would have to pay so much to get out of that.
That is a big part of how Vince was able to do this. He knew that the contract negotiations for the TV deals were coming, and he leveraged WWE because a legal battle with Vince would hurt them in the process of getting their TV deals negotiated. So that honestly explains his timing. I asked earlier, that's the answer. He was waiting for the right time, and he struck when they were vulnerable. And now we have,
Dude, these tweets are amazing.
I got to imagine the memes coming out right now are great. I'm upset I can't really look at them right now because before we get to the tweets, just go into the comment section. BCZ, Vince got nothing else going on in life and he'd rather see his creation destroyed than allow anyone to play with his toys. It's a temper tantrum. How sad is that? You'd rather see your daughter leave the company you created. She was the last family member still there, and you made sure to run her out. And Raven 603 saying the death of WWE not good. Yeah, no one's happy about this. It might not be the death of WWE, but it's a transformative time. It honestly, it depends on these TV deals, man. And if companies are willing to play ball with the Saudis. I know that WWE is probably a bit more financially, probably brings in more revenue than golf, despite the fact that Liv took a bunch of big name players from the PGA Tour. But I mean that's a PR hit that you have to be willing to take.
Yeah,
and I don't know if WWE has enough, for lack of a better phrase, clout to take that PR hit, for you to take that PR hit. And the other thing too is, and I think this is more for me, should all that happen, should all of that come to pass, I think that makes even the mere chance of it makes the Saudi deal bad, because Vince, it's weird because the company has a fiduciary obligation to the company and the shareholders to do the best thing for them financially. Now, the Saudis might have offered the most money, and then therefore it's the best thing to do for the shareholders. But for the future of the company, it might not be. And then that's where I'm kind of like, the board does have some rights here. And I know he kind of owns the board at this point. But I mean, should they consider the possibility that working with the Saudis could negatively financially affect them? Can the board take some sort of steps? And I know, James, you mentioned earlier that they tried to, and Vince threatened to bankrupt the company, but could they take some steps just in a fiduciary sense where they have to, keep the company's best interests, at the foremost, and perhaps having that PR hit might not be in its best interest?
Realistically, I can't speak for any member of the board because I don't know who's on the board other than Vince and his two
cronies.
Yeah, you were more real than I was there. So I don't know what their mindset is. Truth be told, they could be getting a very big payoff if this happens.
I'm sure they are. Everyone's going to be making a bunch of money from whatever this sale is, both shareholders and board members and everybody.
I read something earlier today that if if the sale does go through, Nick Khan himself is looking at a gigantic payoff from it.
Oh yeah, that's why he's there.
And I mean, that's why they hired him in the first place.
Yeah.
So it depends on what their goals are. It's like you said, in the short term, this deal is the right choice. You can make any argument as to what could happen tomorrow. today it feels like the best financial decision. That's all they're going to focus on. So if the company does go out of business next year, it doesn't matter to them because they got their huge payoff now.
Yeah, it doesn't matter it doesn't matter to the shareholders. There are none if the company's private. So I mean, literally, that's exactly what happened with Twitter. They had to take must steal because financially and fiduciarily, which is a tough word to say.
Rough.
Thank you.
That was a good word though.
The company had to do it because the shareholders were getting paid out at a really big chunk of change per share. I think it was like almost like $7 or something, which is crazy. So, the board had to look at it and be like, yeah, this guy's going to completely fuck up this company, but we have an obligation to the shareholders to get them paid. So we have to do it. And now Twitter is, it's been a shithole for a while, but now there's a dumbass running it and it's just becoming a different type of shithole.
I clearly have the best understanding of the stock market here. I've been a GameStop holder for a while now.
Diamond hands DeSanti over here.
And I don't really know where I was going with that joke other than I wanted to mention it. GME to the moon, everybody. But
he's still holding on.
Oh, like a vice grip. But just wanted to talk to the chat. Dropkick JD, death of WWE as we know it. Yep.
Yeah.
And Bawa, Arabian Mania confirmed. No comment, but
how are you gonna get there, James? Remember I made that joke like a week and a half ago, and now
I'm good.
Here we are.
I didn't have the energy to watch it on TV. I'm not gonna travel to it. Let me tell you.
Don't drink. Don't bring pork. Don't hold a man's hand or look at him too long, and you probably won't get arrested and or murdered.
Somebody said, now that WWE sold to Saudi, I already know who they have planned to dethrone Roman Reigns. And then it's just a gif of Muhammad Hassan and his entrance.
God. Anyway.
I mean, that's also kind of what I'm worried about. Like, similar to how, they would pretty much pay to do these shows in Saudi Arabia, and they would just pay them to have the most ridiculous matches that made absolutely no sense put together, like Undertaker and Goldberg. Like WWE never would have did that, unless they were paid a shit ton of money. So now I'm worried. I mean, they've never actually. It seems like they've never paid them to like change the outcome of a match.
To a degree, because we did have the undefeated streak of Mansoor.
All right,
yeah.
But
my point, that's something.
But I mean, they did that for the same reason Jinder Mahal won the title.
But I understand. But
to be honest, that might actually be worse than what Saudi Arabia, like giving the title, whatever. We don't have to talk about it, but giving the title to him just for the sake of a tour. That almost might be worse than Saudi Arabia having fucking Mansoor win who cares if Mansoor wins?
Yeah.
But I'm saying I hope it's not a matter of like, hey, we're gonna give you this $8 billion, but you're gonna have to make sure that this person beats Roman Reigns at fucking WrestleMania in LA kind of thing. Like Mansoor can't win the Rumble is what I'm saying. Like,
yeah.
I mean, I don't want to say that's too crazy to happen, but can you fucking imagine?
I mean, what can't a male model do? But
wait, is that Mansoor?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, damn. I'm so out of the loop. I didn't even realize that was him.
You're not missing much.
No, what they're going to do is they're going to bring back that Yokozuna impersonator guy from the original Saudi show because that one prince really loved Yokozuna and didn't know he was dead.
Oh, that was bad. Going to the
James,
comment section.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
So sorry. From Kingston, the Saudis should buy the Lakers next. Sorry, Nick.
Nah, Genie's never given that up.
James Palmieri, good name. AEW is about to take off now and have a lot of talent heading that way. James, I don't know if that's true. I think there will be a good amount of talent probably heading to AEW. But this could have effects all over the industry, not just AEW. Impact could see a bump. New Japan is always looking for gaijins. The indie scene is already flourishing. Just ask Matt Cardona. So we don't know what's next. Please go ahead, Eric.
I was gonna say, what do you do? Because these guys just signed like 5-year deals like a year ago. Because
I mean,
they offered Kevin the Austin match, and he was like, all right, fuck it, I'll stay. You guys like me. And then they offered Sammy whatever they offered him.
I was gonna say, I think Kevin re-signed before they offered him the Stone Cold match, but
no, we were asked
leading into it.
Yeah, because I remember us being like, why the fuck did he re-sign? And then he got the Austin thing, and we're like, oh, well, maybe that kind of makes sense. You know, who's gonna say no to that? But
Kevin just said that I think he has 2 years left on his deal.
Right. So what do you do in that situation? Do you just sit home? Do you pull a Sasha? Like, how does that work? Do you buy out your contract? How much is he getting paid? He doesn't seem like the type of guy that would want to spend money to get out of a contract because he's like a family man and
exactly.
The whole deal. So I don't know, like, do you just say, I'm going to sit home until the end of my contract? I don't want to perform. How does that work?
It's going to lead to a lot of interesting avenues for different superstars, and a guy like Kevin and a guy like Sammy, very different than a guy who like Seth Rollins, and that's not a judgment on Rollins. That was just a name I threw out there, but I don't know, and that's the big thing. There is so much unknown going on. As Raven 603 in the chat asked what's going on with Triple H with all of this, we have no clue. It's easy to speculate that Triple H is probably on the way out. He's probably not going to stay in the company that his wife just resigned from, but we don't know.
Especially if Vince wants to take creative back over.
Exactly.
That's also crazy because I thought, like, the agreement when he came back was that he's not going to take over creative. So how did they decide on, what? I don't see how. I don't know how can't they fight that within the company and be like, no, like Triple H is staying in charge, management is staying in charge. That was the whole point of his email to the company when he was like, I want you guys to bring me back. Management is great, yada yada yada. Also, James Palmieri said, from my understanding, contracts are out the window when a new ownership takes over, which I guess would be interesting. I don't.
It's possible.
It's possible.
Who knows? You have more of a legal foot to stand on in a situation like that, but I don't know. I thinking back to other companies that this happened with, like New Japan when they were bought out, or Impact when they were bought out, or Ring of Honor is a different case because Ring of Honor actually just straight up closed, and most of those deals were let go by original management.
So at that point, it was a logo and a video library.
Yeah. So it's very up in the air. It's very up in the air. Going to Navarro, hope he can still find work in creative somewhere. I can tell you guys,
he beats Triple H.
He does beat Triple H. I can tell you right now, I said it in some chats. I don't know if I said it with you guys. I don't think there is a better person to buy NWA from Billy Corgan than Triple H.
Oh, he would have a blast. He
loves the brand. It's the one belt Triple H wishes he could have held in his career, and he's a big enough name that would draw attention to NWA.
That would be the all-time fruition of the wrestling isn't wrestling part, where the guy was like, if Triple H can't have the title, he's gonna choose who ends up winning it. Because he can't have this one, so he's gonna make damn sure he picks who has that belt.
Exactly.
Greenleaf just said, "What is the fate of WWE? Double G, double O, double N, double E."
I don't get it, but
sure. I'm trying to. Oh, gone.
No, I know it was gone, but I don't know why the double letters, unless he's saying
gone.
James Palmieri, they have to completely redo contract situations under new ownership. If that's the case, we're going to see a lot of interesting transitions.
I wonder what do you do if the roster revolts and they're like, no, we're not staying. Fuck that.
I mean, it doesn't matter at that point.
Yeah, but there's got to be something that, like, if they say we're not staying as long as the Saudis own the company.
Are they going to go on strike?
That's what I'm saying. What happens if that is the case? Because
I guess they get a lot of the guys breach of contracts.
So I know. Well, I think we need to be honest. I think
if it's true what James is saying, where they have to completely redo everyone's contract situation, in that case, because technically, like, I don't know, when you're I don't know, they're not, when they signed a contract, they didn't sign on with the idea that the Saudis would be their boss. So isn't there a way where they could be like, this is not what I signed up for, kind of thing?
So I'm going to say something that might draw some ire, but I think it's something we do need to acknowledge. Not every wrestler is going to see this as a negative.
Yeah, that's true.
Right. Maybe
there-
that's true. Maybe more money goes into their pockets. I didn't think about that. Maybe the contracts are better.
They might not care. I mean, clearly a bunch of them go to Saudi Arabia and get a good payday out of it. So they might not care.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I guess my point is, like, you know, if you got I'm sure Sammy's got friends in the back that might just side if enough guys side with the anti-Saudi idea, are we just left with Strowman as
I don't know, man. Have you seen some of the likes from the last few days on Twitter?
Is it just Strowman versus Randy Orton every year?
I don't think the Good Brothers are gonna put up too much of a stink either.
Absolutely not. No, yeah, they're there for the money, which is fine. But yeah,
Carl needs another pool.
Yeah. I just want to put out there now, you know, we still have a lot of views going on, and we appreciate you guys here at the Mark It Down podcast. If you like what we're saying and you want to keep hearing us speak, please give us a subscribe. We go live every week. We cover a lot of wrestling in the meantime. We appreciate having you now. At the very least, give the video a like. Thank you. But to continue, we have Fool Death, who really emphasized gone in the comments. And we have Raven 603. It's sad things were finally getting good. Then boom, out of nowhere, Vince F's things up like always. I agree, Raven. That's honestly how a lot of us feel too. We were finally getting to a point where we were excited about WWE again. There was a lot of fun content on a weekly basis. Granted, with how much content WWE puts out, it's hard to be excited about everything. But they were captivating audiences again in a way I don't think we saw in a long time. So this just feels way harsher than it would have in 2022 when there was so much disinterest in the product.
Yeah, I've definitely watched and consumed more clips because I'm not sitting down and watching 3 hours.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, to Rev's point, it's more about little things here and there that were better. I wouldn't necessarily say the entire company was 10 times better without Vince.
Oh, of course.
If you hadn't told me that Vince left and I watched this week's show and a show from 8 months ago, I would have been like, oh, that's not much different than it was before.
Well, you would have said, didn't that guy get fired?
Yeah, exactly.
From what I understand, it's been a lot more consistent. Like, there's been a much higher floor than there used to be.
There's a beginning, middle, and end to the stories. That's pretty much the only difference. But the beginning, middle, and end, just because they have them, if they suck, nobody cares. You know what I mean?
That's fair. That is fair.
I'll take the consistency.
But it is a plus, yes, to have a beginning, middle, and end.
Going back to the comments, Raven said, "Will do." Appreciate you, Raven. We hope to see you next time, and please, keep chiming in. Marshmallow, hi, I'm new, I'm pissed and shocked. Wow, you honestly, Marshmallow.
Welcome, Marshmallow.
Thank you for perfectly verbalizing what we've been trying to say throughout this entire stream. Greenleaf, remember when Vince bought WCW? He said, "What is the fate of WCW?" and gone. References what he did to Jeff Jarrett. That's fair. That is exactly what he did. And goddamn, I mean, hey, Jeff Jarrett's working in 2023. Baby.
Jeff Jarrett is doing a phenomenal job in 2023.
The most popular he's ever been in his entire career.
Jeff Jarrett was the AEW Tag Team Champion for like 2 minutes. So that's
and he did some of his finest heel work as champion by slightly just nudging Aubrey out of the way so she couldn't talk to the timekeeper and restart the match.
Someone who I think might be, if 2023 continues as it did today, probably, God willing, our sponsors in the future, Tylenol.
No, we're gonna need an alcohol sponsorship real quick if this keeps happening.
The good news about all of this is that Hulk Hogan can now return and main event a WrestleMania
brother
against John Cena.
That's really what this has been all about. I don't
but
know.
Now, how crazy is that? Like, has Cena done any of the Saudi shows, or he steered clear of all that shit too?
He may have done one of the original shows.
But
I don't know.
but he steered clear of Vince, and now Vince is back. So what do you do with Cena at Mania?
He hasn't steered clear of Vince.
He went out to dinner with Vince.
He
double
did the
dated.
birthday dinner. He did the birthday dinner.
Did he?
Yeah, they did a double date.
Which, granted,
Linda.
I mean, Taker was there, Lesnar was there, but despite all that, there is a difference between what happens in a private setting versus in public. Cena was supposed to have gone to a Saudi Arabian show. He pulled out at the last minute.
But he was also supposed to go against Theory at SummerSlam, and he bailed because of the whole Vince investigation. He didn't want to be a part of it because his show was coming out, or the movie was coming out.
I actually don't think he was ever actually booked for Theory. I think he was still busy promoting stuff back then.
Yeah, but why would he? It was like it made no sense. His return made absolutely no sense at that point because he was like, I'm gonna like he came there.
No, that was his 20-year anniversary.
Yeah, it was like he didn't wrestle for that show, right? It was just more of a celebration of John Cena.
Yeah,
I don't know. Well, the whole point was he came back to say, I'm gonna wrestle soon.
Yeah, and then he wrestled the last show. Well, he wrestled the last show of the season to keep the streak going.
Yeah, I think it's more
last show of the year. Excuse me.
It's like when Rock came back for his birthday in like the heat of everything, and then they put the title on Cena just so when they had their stare off, Cena actually had the title with him for the stare off. It's like, you do these things to keep it in the eye and in the mind of people.
That's another thing too. I guess like you could say like the less Hollywood superstars that are in the back will stay for the paycheck because who gives a fuck? But you know, guys like The Rock, guys like Austin, I'm trying to think. Anyone who wants to be an actor, even Roman, everyone just says the rumors that he's just going to go to Hollywood at some point. Eventually, he's got the look, whatever.
He's safe for now.
No, but I'm saying knowing that it's going to look back like he represents the company, and he's run by Saudi. So how does that look if he's accepting money from them? But
I mean, he's been to pretty much every one of those shows.
That's true. That's true.
Why don't we do something now where we do what all of wrestling does on the internet? Why don't we wildly speculate? And which is what we've
been doing the whole show, but okay.
But with facts. Now I'm doing it off nothing.
Still unconfirmed, but
I want to ask everybody who's watching, put in the comments, who are you potentially most excited about how this will affect their status with the company and where you'd like to see them go?
CM Punk is absolutely not going back to WWE.
Yeah,
Vince is there.
I think if there was ever a shot of Punk going to WWE, that has just been blown out of the water.
Yeah, the only way he would have went back is if Vince left and then they sold it and then like all the traces of Vince just got cleaned out. Yeah. Like Trips was gone and Shawn Michaels was gone and all Vince's old cronies are gone and the bucktooth guy in the truck was gone. And
I was just looking at
what happened. All those people were gone. That was the only way.
Just want to say, Liam, no, he's past his sell-by date, I think. Goddamn. You guys are good. We enjoy having you guys here in the comments. Thank you so much for sticking with us.
CM Punk is like when the milk is like a day or two past its date and you smell it and you're like, I don't have any other milk. I think I kind of have to use this. I think that's about where he is.
What kind of moldy smell does Vince McMahon bring to the company?
Vince is Vince is like 6 years old and they got stuck in the back of your car and you're trying to figure out what that smell is and you just have no idea. It's like under a seat, like in the wheel well or something. That's what Vince is.
Okay. Sorry, guys. Eric, you were about to say.
Oh, nothing. I was looking at the tweet from CM Punk to The Miz about blood money like 2 minutes ago. And then you guys started talking about Punk going to WWE. I'm like, definitely not now.
So this is actually Anthony Navarro in the comments. Navarro, thank you again. Always providing great thought process for us. Hope AEW gets more TV deals now so we can see more shows. That is an excellent thing to go off of what you were talking about, Nick. That if they are Saudi-owned WWE now, it might be harder for them to get a TV deal, thus making it easier for AEW to get a better TV deal.
Or Ring of Honor getting one if networks actually want to. If they still want to have a wrestling product.
I'm calling it now. Impact Wrestling going to be on the CW. I'm calling it now.
I mean, Impact, that helps Impact too. And I think, New Japan is starting to wind down their US shows, so I doubt that'll happen. But yeah, it's definitely plausible that, if AEW is the biggest show in town that isn't Saudi owned, a company like, NBC, Comcast, or Fox may want to jump in when their contract's up and try to buy them to be on their networks, and perhaps in the process giving Ring of Honor a show too, especially something like NBC, where they do have other channels they could stick it on, like SmackDown used to be on Sci-Fi, type of deal. So, or just makes Turner pay AEW more, and Turner obviously being Warner Brothers Discovery, so who knows what the fuck they're gonna do, because they're a disaster right now. But yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see how they play out should this Saudi rumor be true. There's so many moving parts. There's so much speculation from the talents, the managements, to the TV, to just the money in general. I mean, who knows what these murderous fucks are going to pay just to have a propaganda tool as strong as this with a fan base the way it is. You know what I mean? I know the wrestling fan does tend to be stereotyped to a degree, but there are a good chunk of those people who are the stereotype who do watch wrestling, who can very easily be swayed. And if you don't believe me, go look at the last election map.
Going back to the comments,
Sorry.
Full Death saying they hope Sammy and KO go to AEW. Honestly, not the way I would have wanted this to happen, but I would love to see them there too. I'm still holding out for Finn Balor. But yeah, again, if you're watching,
Finn Balor to what?
Go to AEW.
Oh.
My biggest fear is that if there is an exodus from WWE, that the influx of talent to AEW could be a detriment to them, because I think we've mentioned this before. They have too many people on their roster as it is. They can't, like, where the fuck is Miro? Like, you know what I mean?
No. I was going to defend that a month ago, but Miro is gone because Miro wants to be gone.
Well, they also don't they continually say they don't have anything for him creatively.
All right.
So look, even if it's both sides, my point is they're not using him. They're not using other people who they could be using far more often, just strictly because they don't have the fucking time on television. What are you going to do when all of these other people start showing up? And I know the Ring of Honor show helps, and I know that's going to add more TV time, but if you start bringing in major star after major star after major star, after you already did that after the last exodus of WWE talent that got fired,
then fuck those guys. Now you what are you going to
do? But like, what my point being, Eric, how are you going to get all these people on television?
You don't. Now you have all these big stars. You don't need those fucking guys.
I see, Eric, that's something we're going to disagree on, because
disagree on.
I love Sami Zayn and I love Kevin Owens. It is by the grace of wrestling gods that Kevin Owens was in a position to be in the main event against Stone Cold Steve Austin. Because I guarantee you, the majority of the casual fans that are out there might not know who Sami Zayn or Kevin Owens is. So I can't watch a company with only big stars, because then guess what? You're going to have Bryan Danielson, who is a main eventer, should be champion in a lot of ways, but then they're going to lose because somebody needs to lose. There are winners and losers.
I understand that.
You need mid-carders.
My point is similar to what Tony said weeks ago. You got to have, you have to have a bench. You have to have people on the bench.
Exactly. But that's why they can't all be A-list guys. You got to have guys coming in and out. It can't be the same. Raven.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, James. But I was just gonna say, it's not all going to be AEW. Obviously, Impact's going to get people. The Indies are going to get people. New Japan's going to get people. Like we said, hell, maybe even All Japan and Dragon Gate and other companies. Like, people are going to get jobs, especially if they're well-known WWE people. Like, they're going to get jobs.
Their ask rate, definitely. I was at a show 3 weeks ago. Lindsay Dorado was one of the big names on the show.
Oh, the House of Glory show.
Exactly.
Shout out main event.
Always. That's not a knock on Lindsay Dorado, but the reality is, yes, Lindsay Dorado, whose biggest claim to fame in WWE was the Lucha House Party, was a big name on this show. That's cool to see. I'm always a proponent of these guys getting paid, these guys feeding their families. and these guys getting what they can out of it. So I want to keep going to the comments. I apologize. Liam, if The Rock has any respect for WWE, he will reject winning the title at Mania if booked to win. That is a little off topic, Liam, but I don't think Rock is going to win. I think Roman, if things proceeded as expected, Roman was going to win regardless, I think. Raven 603, wonder how the military people feel about this big WWE family there. Honestly, that's in its own thing right now. I'm not making a joke out of this. This isn't to be light. I don't think we're going to get another tribute to the troops. There's a lot of people being affected by this on the outside. Aaron B. Harold, wrestling is slowly dying. Today was just another step in that direction. Aaron, Jesus. I don't want to. I respect your opinion, and I understand the trepidation about this company, about wrestling as a whole. But the reality is, thankfully, there are alternatives. You could be, before today, I guess, WWE fan, an AEW fan, an Impact Wrestling fan, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Ring of Honor, All Japan Pro Wrestling, Noah, Stardom, your local indies. I can name a few for up here in the Northeast. There are so many companies, and we're blessed as wrestling fans to have this smorgasbord of viewership. But the reality is, this is a major hit for the biggest company in the world. I don't know how anybody can expect this to just go smoothly. Anthony Navarro saying Vince at least will give us Cody winning at WrestleMania.
Maybe.
Anthony Navarro. You are so important. I got to say your whole name every time. You are really touching a sensitive subject for some of the members of this podcast.
Yeah, that's.
I'm with you though, Navarro. I am with you. Liam,
I'm not.
We'll get into that in a second. Liam,
a whole different show.
There's something more to think. Vince is a billionaire. What's money to a man like him? His daughter has had to resign, and many jobs within WWE are uncertain because of this whole. Because of this, the whole of WWE will change. Liam, you hit the nail on the head there, buddy. These were the actions of a man who already had everything. But the one thing that he lost is the one thing he couldn't let go of. It's a tragic thing to see. But that's unfortunately the reality of what we live in. This is a man who had no problem being best buddies with Donald Trump at one point. And, we're not a political podcast, so we're going to leave it
yesterday.
I mean, that was Linda. Just wanted to say again, we still have a lot of views coming in. We appreciate you guys. If you like what you're hearing, give us a subscribe, hit that like button. I know that's annoying as hell. I know what I sound like, but we appreciate it. We go live every week, and we want to keep talking with you guys every week. So thank you.
Just really quick, somebody named Jimmy Van said, I will say this, which contradicts the Saudi rumors. WWE had just announced that JP Morgan was repping them. Usually a sales process takes months before shareholder approval. It seems too fast for a deal to have happened already. And then someone else said, I'm not believing anything until Sean Ross Sapp reports it.
I mean, it is possible that there's just an initial agreement, and obviously the final sale has come through. I mean, think of how long it took between when Elon said he was buying Twitter and then he actually bought Twitter.
Yeah.
So,
well, I think that was a little different because he was like, I don't know the logistics of it, but I thought he was like trying to back out of him buying it, and then they
he was, but
and then
that was a mess. But there was time between and part of it was that, and part of it was the board had to vet the offer and go over it with the shareholders and have a shareholders meeting. They can't just this isn't going to happen overnight. Is my point.
Do we think Jay White's decision just became a little bit easier?
Oh my God,
might be harder. Who knows?
Or did a decision become easy? Well, he can't sign anything, right? So I
Not
guess
yet. He's still technically.
Yeah, he's still.
But going back to comments, Aaron B. Harold, I have watched for 40 years. I have seen the slow regression in the States. I know it's a deep discussion and probably not to have one now, but watch for more signs over the next 5 years. I think it's very fair to say that wrestling definitely boomed in the 90s, and we've seen a regression over the last 20 years or so, probably a little bit longer, except for that boom. But the reality is, it's always been a niche fan base. It's always been a niche enjoyment for a lot of people. And I don't think that's any different now. I do think that wrestling is transforming. I think judging it off the lens of ratings on television is unfortunately an archaic system, because across the board, television ratings are down. Streaming is a big deal. Stuff like YouTube is a big deal. It's just the reality of how the business has evolved. So on the same token as to how those numbers are going down, SummerSlam had the biggest buy rate it's ever had. It had the biggest gate it's ever had this last year. So there are definitely some peaks and valleys, but I respect your opinion, Aaron. But I can tell you, I have a little more optimism about the sport as a whole, even if things do seem to be somewhat negative for this particular company in WWE.
Yeah, I don't think wrestling is ever going to be as hot as it was in the 90s. I mean, they hit especially at the tail end there, like it was a peak. It was a serious peak, but
we
it's
say
still
that,
fun and people still like it. So, and it still makes money. You know, that's the major thing, right? It still makes money, especially if it's getting sold for $8 billion, which I don't necessarily believe, but
I mean, they make more money now than they did then. So, you know, maybe less people watch, but.
And I wonder how much that might be blinding them, because the majority of their money, the majority of their revenue is coming through their TV deals. So maybe that has created somewhat of a false sense of security for their stability. But if they can't get a TV deal because of this this possible buyout, who knows? Who knows?
Right.
But yeah, Aaron B. Harold, yeah, I don't put much into ratings because of what you said. Yeah, Aaron, you're definitely, not that I'm the most educated guy out there, but I appreciate your insight. Thank you so much. Raven, crazy money. You got that right. Anthony Navarro, good point, Nick, about the deal not happening overnight.
Thanks, Navarro. He would know that. He's in the businessy world.
We have a lot of educated fans here, and we're very appreciative of it here at the Market Down podcast. If you're just tuning in, we see the numbers going up. We appreciate it. If you like what you hear, please give us a sub. At the very least, hit that like button. I know I sound annoying as hell, but hey, it's how we get to keep talking to you guys.
No, you're good. Keep it going, because I'm still looking for tweets and shit and refreshing this thing.
Yeah, it's like this news has seemingly slowed down a little bit. SRS is still, planting its flag in the fact that this is all still unconfirmed rumors. Nothing has been officially confirmed yet, but I think there's a very good chance somebody has agreed to buy WWE. Whether or not that's the Saudis yet remains to be seen. But
someone said it is worth a reminder that the WWE board unanimously disapproved of Vince returning in writing. That board included Stephanie McMahon, Nick Khan, and Paul Levesque.
Shocked about Khan. I guess I shouldn't be, but shocked about Nick Khan. But look, I also want to say to everybody watching, everything we are talking about right now, despite all the different news outlets reporting on it, all the different reputable sources commenting on it, this is still speculation at this point. We don't know. We could wake up tomorrow and something completely different happened. Maybe WWE was purchased by a different organization. Maybe WWE won't be sold at all. Maybe we're finding out Triple H is going to be the new CEO and chairman. Obviously, that's me being a little silly, but that is the reality of the situation. We don't know what is happening, and we won't until a little more time passes. We are simply commenting on the possibilities and the rumors and what has been reported. So if you guys have anything you want to add, please put it in the comments. What are you afraid of? What are your hopes for what could be happening?
Aaron just said, good combo, guys. There's so much to say about this from so many angles that would take so much time to get into, and I will keep an eye out for what you guys think in the future. And then Raven said, just a bad dream, I hope.
Yeah, I'm very much hoping this is a false report, like Aaron, like Aaron Judge going to the Giants and John Heyman just jumped that gun. But
you got to read what Andy just said. He said Titus O'Neil is on his way to Saudi Arabia. He says he hopes to enjoy the trip.
Oh God, Andy, we do appreciate the humor in these dark times.
Aaron said Hulk Hogan will be CEO and Ric Flair will be head of talent relations.
Once again, provided by our hope to be future sponsor, Tylenol, for the gigantic headache that I have thinking about all of these possibilities. Again, please keep commenting what you think, what you're hoping for. Nick, what are you thinking? I know you've already commented on all the possibilities. What is your best case scenario here? What's your worst case scenario? And how does this impact you as a fan? And then Eric, I'll get to you after.
I mean, obviously, best case scenario is these Saudi rumors are wrong and the sale process is either continuing or it's being sold to a more reputable company, whether that be Disney or NBC Comcast or whomever. And granted, those are relatively reputable as compared to the Saudis, but they're still they're legitimate financial institutions in America. That's best case scenario. And obviously, in the process of that happening, they fucking bounce Vince's ass up out of there. Worst case scenario is obviously the Saudis come in and they take over, and Vince ends up staying, and he retakes over creative, and that creates a rift probably with Triple H and probably a decent chunk of the talents and Shawn Michaels, and it just becomes a mess, and Vince basically usurps isn't the right word because it was technically his throne and then he left, but yeah, he takes the throne back and puts all his cronies back in, guts the roster the way he had it, and Roman is champ for the next 6 years.
Yeah.
I gotta tell you, I realized my biggest gripe about this with Vince coming back. I could have swore we were this close to being done in production. I was so ready for Bucky to be gone from the company.
Oh God.
And this just means the camera angles will return and I'm gonna have legitimate headaches watching the product.
JJ Anderson said reports are now claiming that WWE just placed an order for a large amount of women's hazmat suits. I think that confirms the Saudi deal.
Jesus Christ. Once again, thank you guys. You guys are providing us with a lot of levity in this dark time. We appreciate you guys being a part of this conversation with us. If you're enjoying the show, please give us a like, maybe hit subscribe, because we're enjoying talking with you and we would love to keep talking with you. We go live every week. Tomorrow we'll be going live after Dynamite. That was already going to be a fun show with everything going on in Dynamite, but now I think we're going to have a little bit more to say, a little more to pepper into the product. And
not to mention the episode on Thursday. Yep, I'm sure we'll be covering anything that comes out after we finish up here tonight and comes out tomorrow by tomorrow night. So that'll be cool too. James, stop stealing my job.
I'm trying to give you a little bit of a break. You kill it all the time. And
Thank you.
I'm a fun little sidekick. Okay.
All right, just because you idolize Dick Grayson.
Yeah, we cover a lot here at the Mark It Down podcast, and again,
we don't go on tangents,
you guys. Not at all. That is our number one rule here at the Mark It Down podcast, guys. We don't go on tangents. So anyway, I'll be covering the Impact pay-per-view on Friday, but yeah,
I had no idea that there was an Impact pay-per-view on Friday.
There are dozens of us, Eric. Dozens.
Nope. Navarro just said if Triple H keeps creative and they don't push Saudi beliefs within the company, i.e. tell women how to dress and such. Liam said
that would suck. And Navarro kept going, so to cut you off there.
No, you're good.
That giving the women less time and stuff would be bullshit. And yeah, it would. I don't know if they would do that. I do think for the most part, WWE would be left up to their own devices outside of probably making the Saudi government look good.
I was going to say,
Liv pretty much is left up to their own devices. Liv Golf, that is.
Yeah.
I would imagine Vince, at least at the very least, was like, you can buy the company, but I have complete say in like a Dana White situation. Pretty much what I was saying the other day was like, no matter what.
And look what a mess that is.
Yeah.
Going to the comments again. JJ Anderson, on a serious note, it legit feels like I'm witnessing the fall of an empire. I completely agree with you, JJ. That's honestly how I feel too. This has been an institution in the United States and in entertainment for such a long time. We joke about WWE, we joke at their expense because honestly, a lot of the time they deserve it. But the reality is, they have been a part of such historic times. They've provided fans and people all over the world with so much joy throughout the years. I don't know what was said. I don't have the energy yet, but the fact that this is changing in the way that it is truly a heartbreaking thing to see.
Andy, hello from Andy saying hello from the UK. What's going on, Andy? Thank you for
thank you.
being up this late. Jeez, man, are you up? Or are you just waking up? Or are you still up? It's like 5:30 over there.
This is early for him. But Andy, that's exactly what we love here at the Mark It Down Podcast. We named ourselves the Mark It Down Podcast because we are a bunch of wrestling marks. We are just fans who love wrestling, and on occasion that does include WWE. So if you're watching with us now, if you're one of our subs, you're a mark just like us. And we say that from the bottom of our hearts, and we appreciate you. Raven, bye-bye America. Hyper Films 2023, Sami Zayn just quit rumor. God, we've been speculating on Sami all night. I don't know what his future is, but if this is legit, man, El Generico is going to come back to life somewhere,
I mean, if he has the mask on, is it really Sami Zayn working for Saudi Arabia?
No, well, Generico, I don't think would do that anyway because he's a really good guy. He's been working with those orphans for all these years.
But is he pro Palestine though? That's really the thing.
Hyper Films, thank you for bringing that to our attention. We'll try to comment on that as we can.
Andy, I do that all the time. Pull insane insomnia sessions. I was up when the Mets allegedly signed Correa at 3:00 in the morning and stayed up till 5 as well. So I understand where you're coming from.
You're talking to someone in the UK about New York's second baseball team. Have some pity on the man. Raven, Vince needs a nursing home like Tom Brady. Raven, that's not fair.
Your mouth to God's ears. Put them both in one.
Vince McMahon would never kiss Shane McMahon on the mouth the way Tom Brady kisses his children.
Yeah, at least Tom talks to his kids.
Andy, insomnia session. Yep. Aaron, do you think this could lead to wrestlers talk about unionizing again? It's very possible. We deal with the unionization conversation every few years. And truth be told, it's a tragedy that it hasn't happened yet. It will change the industry more than this would. Unionization, as great a concept as it is, and I'm a big proponent of it, will fundamentally change the wrestling business as we know it. So it's way bigger than a WWE issue. It's every wrestler in the industry would change the company that they work for, whether that's WWE, AEW, Impact, New Japan would be different, but any American company would be fundamentally rocked by unionization. Hyper Films, as freaked out as we are, imagine how the WWE wrestlers are feeling. We're right there with you, Hyper. We are, first and foremost, we're talking about it through a fan perspective, but the reality is these are real people with jobs whose decisions and their livelihoods were just affected by a man who decided he wasn't done yet, for better or for worse. And I think we're all in agreement right now. It feels for worse. I'm going to do my shameless plug again, guys. I know I'm getting annoying, but we keep getting new viewers cycling in and out. If you're enjoying what you're hearing, please give us a like here at the Mark It Down Podcast. Maybe subscribe where you could hear us talking on a week-to-week basis. Last week, I went from Monday to Thursday covering too much wrestling to the point that I don't think I fully recovered.
I think James did 6 episodes for 4 companies in 5 days or something crazy. It was a lot.
I am broken. And I'm not broken like Matt Hardy. I'm physically broken.
Damn.
But what you guys have,
that's the Tylenol.
but what you guys have been providing me with these conversations, these comments, are what the reason that I keep doing it. And that's why we love talking with you guys here at the Market Down podcast. So thank you for everything you've been all night. News keeps cycling in. We still have more comments. Greenleaf back. Welcome back, Greenleaf. Undertaker said he had a flashback when he was in WCW upon seeing Giant Gonzalez in WWE. He's having a flashback now thinking about how he almost got dropped on
his head
over there. Andy Kane, in the voice of Kent Brockman. I, for one, welcome our new Saudi Arabian overlords. I don't know that I agree with you there, Andy, but at the same time, thank you again for providing much needed levity during these dark times.
Thank you for the like, Raven. We appreciate it. Man, I don't know, guys. This sucks. I really hope it's not true.
somehow
I think there's a really good shot at this not being true. We've seen before wrestling news come out and it just, or the slightest rumor just catches fire and it just was never even remotely close to true. So I'm kind of holding out hope on that. As long as SRS keeps saying that it's not going to happen. I mean, he's kind of our last bastion of hope there, but
I mean, it is morning in Saudi right now, so I guess it wouldn't make sense that they're just like, they're just making this deal right now.
Who do you think would make the announcement first?
It would be no, because it's a stock thing, so it has to go. That's the other thing too, because it's a stock thing. It does have to go through the SEC as well. So, like I said, even if there's an agreement, this isn't done.
Raven just said Iron Sheik might come out of retirement.
God, break your back, make you humble, cheeky baby.
But this isn't done by a long shot. Even if the agreement is with the Saudis, it's got to go through the SEC. It's got to go through the shareholders who have to approve it. There's a long road ahead for whomever is buying this company. So
now, if it does take a long time to get to that point, because it's gonna at
least a couple of months.
How will this affect the stock in the short run? Do you see it plummeting? Do you see it jumping? Because it jumped when Vince was announced back as joining the board.
Honestly, I know that technically the market's closed right now, but there is like some overnight trading. I'm not like a real, stock guy, but I do understand some general stuff about it. I got to imagine, assuming like nothing official comes out overnight, that the stock price is going to skyrocket in the morning. But at a certain point, I think they do have to close selling it because if they need to know like who's getting paid out and what they're getting.
If I put $20 into the stock right now, how much do I make if it's skyrockets?
That would not even be a full share.
I was going to say, you ain't getting a share for $20.
You get a fractional return. But if I've learned anything when it comes to the stock market, the market does not move based off actual action. It moves based off rumors. And right now, I don't think there is a bigger rumor for this company than what is happening. So we'll see what that leads to. A lot of fun from JJ and Greenleaf in the comments about slogans and new names. Oh man, WWE. We love it, don't we, guys?
Greenleaf, I really hope it's not SAWE because then I'm going to get confused between AWE and AEW and little Stexy is going to come through and it's just, that ain't going to be pretty. Can it not be that? Sergeant Slaughter has plans to Saudi Arabia. Good shout, Andy Kane.
It would not be the first time Sergeant Slaughter has renounced the United States. God. Let's see.
I almost want to just end on that. I don't know how we're going to do better.
Well, we're going to stick around for another minute just to see if there's any new news. If not, we're probably going to call it there. But I am not the news guy the way you guys are.
Sean Ross Sapp just confirmed that WWE wrestlers are pissed off about the news. But that was through somebody else, so I wasn't even through. I mean, whatever. We all just assumed that they're pissed off.
I was gonna say he's probably they're pissed off at least the rumor, which I would believe. I mean,
everyone in the comments is saying walkout. That's what I mean. Like, if everyone walks out, what is the?
I mean, what's today? Tomorrow's Wednesday, so I mean, the walkout would have to be on Friday. Like SmackDown would have to just not show up. So
and then what happens though? That's what I mean.
Their show's fucked. I'm sure Fox gets pretty pissed off. I'm
Like,
trying to think.
what's-
I think
there's got to be some. I'm saying, okay, like
it's breach of contract if
Right.
they don't show.
okay, but let's I guess do it this way. Let's say it's a baseball team and they get a new owner. They all walk out. They don't play the game. What do they do?
Well, they just cut him.
They would cut everyone on the team.
Yeah, well, I mean, it depends on who it is. Like, if your contract's not guaranteed, you're fucking out the door. They'd
And
cut you or
also-
DFA you.
And as wishful thinking as that is, that's exactly what it is. Unfortunately, it is wishful thinking. The reality is, I doubt you're going to see every member of the roster take that level of stand. They've had a lot of them have no reason to. A lot of them have already shown what their where their allegiance lies, and at the end of the day, they do need to pay and feed they have to pay their bills and feed their families.
Yeah, I genuinely do think, and SRS has been posting this quite a bit, that wrestling Twitter tends to take a rumor and that's vague and just echo it as loud as they possibly can, as long as they possibly can, to the point where it seems like fact.
Respectfully, though, to SRS, this is getting traction with a lot of people. Like,
Yeah.
beyond just wrestling Twitter and the fans and the marks like us.
Because
It-
it's
it-
Saudis that attracts
I-
attention.
Aaron makes up a good point. What are the odds that Vince shows up on TV now?
Because
who's gonna-
It'll be on
Who's
Friday.
going to stop him at this point?
I mean, I'm expecting him there on SmackDown. And if I can assure you guys now, if Vince McMahon does show up on SmackDown on Friday, we will be covering it here at the Markdown Podcast.
But also, does he get cheered or does he get booed? Because regardless of anything, he always gets cheered. But does he finally get booed now?
Mixed? I'm gonna go mixed. Would be my
Yeah, I
bet.
think mixed too.
Navarro in the chat saying SRS is on a live stream saying he thinks it's bullshit, but possibly a gentleman's agreement. Yeah, which I think whoever is in agreement right now, it's probably just, in principle, just a general in principle agreement before
I mean,
it moves on, whether it's the
if-
Saudis or otherwise.
if it is a gentleman's agreement with Saudi and he hasn't actually signed anything and then they walk, then it could be a decision where he has to be like, okay, well, I can't sell this to Saudi. It's got to go to like Disney or whoever the fuck.
But this could be disastrous for WWE, and this could be disastrous in multiple ways because one, they already have an existing deal with Saudi Arabia to be there for the next few years to do shows.
Right.
Who knows how that affects that partnership?
I don't think it would though. They have that contract already signed.
They would just be
So-
paying themselves. It's basically just moving money from one.
No, but James
contract
is
to the
saying
other.
James is saying if
If it's somebody
If-
else.
no. Yes. James is
Well-
saying if they back out of the gentleman's agreement,
Oh,
how does that affect that?
Yeah, if the initial agreement is the Saudis and then it falls through, yeah, it's possible they're pissed and they pull that agreement too. I don't know the language of the contract between WWE and Saudi Arabia, in terms of these shows. So they could have out clauses, but I would imagine they don't. And if that's the case, or just another company buys it straight up, without Saudi involvement, and they don't want to be involved with them, they might not be able to get out of the contract either. I obviously haven't seen it. I'm not sure who has outside of perhaps the board and maybe stockholders, but it's plausible. Like, all those things are plausible. Everything is on the table right now until we actually get some information. Also, yeah, sorry, Andy, I said cut. I do talk a bit fast. Bronx.
I do think if they cuddled, this wouldn't be a problem.
I agree. I think so many problems today could be solved with a good cuddle.
I think if Vince had somebody to cuddle, he would actually probably just stay home, but he doesn't, and he's out of his fucking mind.
He's got a young girlfriend who isn't Linda McMahon.
I just assumed he had like a harem, which actually probably is why he gets along with the Saudis.
Anyway, we're gonna go right past that. Yeah, guys, there is a lot of love and support for Sami Zayn online right now, and I think we're all in agreement on that.
Yeah.
I don't know what else to
everyone
say.
on Twitter is making like his whole family just died kind of thing. Like,
I mean,
it could, I don't want to say could be detrimental to his career, but it could be detrimental to his career in WWE. I think he lands on his feet should he have to leave the company.
I think he lands on his
But-
feet, sure, but I do find it like I would love to know what the plan was for the next 4 months without any of this.
I'm
like,
devastated.
There-
I'm
there's-
devastated at the thought.
There's also a shot too that it does take 4 months for anything to be signed. It could be possible that whatever happens, it's in the contract that they just, want to run things to WrestleMania, and then whoever buys will take over. So
yeah, but
doubtful, because I would want to get that WrestleMania revenue for myself. But
but even if that is the case, like they're not gonna like, one of our options was to have Sammy win the Rumble. They're not gonna have him win the Rumble, win at Mania, and then the new deal is signed, and then what do? So they would have to just plan ahead on that and just not,
put him in that position.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is plans now have to change in regards to what is going to take place in a few months. If that is the case, if like none of these changes get taken into effect until later, they still have to plan that out now, which it kind of sucks because we all wanted to see the end of these stories, or, like we all wanted to see the end of the Roman story to see what they had planned for that, what they were going to do at the Rumble, what The Rock was going to do, what Austin was going to do. Like, Now what happens? Who was Austin going to go against? Is that person not going to be with the company if they sign with Saudi? Like, I don't know. That's where I'm at.
Yeah.
I don't like that. I wanted to see what Triple H had planned for the Rumble and Mania.
I agree.
Yeah.
I think this is around a good point to probably wrap up. But before we do, I would just like to leave with some comments of my own. I know we've been joking a lot about tonight just to try to make light of the situation. But the reality is this is a very scary situation with real people and their livelihoods being thrown out of loop, out of whack. I wish I could come up with something more poignant to say, but the reality is this is a very scary time for a lot of these wrestlers. It's a very sad time if you're a fan of the product. So everybody, at the end of this, have as much compassion as you can for the WWE superstars who are now in a very different situation than they ever thought they'd be in. And the crew, anybody who works for that company who didn't make this decision, have as much compassion for them as you can. And if you're a fan who is stressed out about this, please know WWE does not equal professional wrestling. There are many, many alternatives out there, whether it be AEW, Impact, Ring of Honor, New Japan, your local indie, whatever.
Notice how he didn't say Impact.
I did.
Impact literally did.
Impact was number 2.
In my head, I was like, that doesn't count.
So please know that there is light at the end of this tunnel. And thank you for being with us here at the Mark It Down podcast tonight. We're reacting to this in real time with you guys. I'm going to shoot it over to our fearless leader, Nick, over there. But thank you for entertaining us. Thank you for reacting with us. Thank you for helping calm us down. And last shameless plug of the night. If you liked what you saw, hit the like button. If you want to keep talking with us in the future, please hit the subscribe button. We love talking with the rest of the marks out there. We are just like you guys. We're just on a screen right now. So thank you for everything.
Thank you, James. That was very well said. And like James said, be sure to like and subscribe. We will be live tomorrow after AEW Dynamite if you want to hang out with us there. And then we'll have an episode out on Thursday. They usually come out in the morning. I imagine we'll have a lot more news to discuss in regards to this potential sale of WWE. So that episode, which we will more than likely record tomorrow night. So we'll have a lot more information then, and it'll be out Thursday morning. Like James said, if Vince shows up on SmackDown on Friday, we'll probably be live then too. We have also a bunch of other shows as well for Raw on Monday nights and the Gym Pack Zone starring James on Thursdays. So be sure to check us out there. Be sure to check out our social media stuff. We'll try to keep everybody up to date between now and our episode coming out over on the Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. I keep forgetting we have a freaking TikTok. I'm too old for that. All that stuff is in the description below, so be sure to check all of that out. So for Eric Grisanti and James Gisanti, my name is Nick Cummings. Thank you all so much for watching. We're so glad we had so many new people here tonight. It was a pleasure to meet and talk with all of you. So thanks for hanging out, guys. We will see you here next time on the Mark It Down podcast. Have a good night, everybody. Or
Watch
Andy,
Impact.
or Andy, in your case, I guess have a good day, man. Holy shit, guys, try to get some sleep, bro. All right, goodbye, everybody.
See you.